Hi everyone, welcome back to another reading vlog. Today's reading vlog is very exciting and different. I've fallen into a tiny bit of a reading slump and I'm not really quite sure what to pick up next, so I thought it would be really fun to see how many books I could read in 1 week. Today is Friday though, so we're starting it today. I'm gonna do a timer on my phone for 168 hours because that's how many hours are in a week, and I'm going to start that in the next probably 10 minutes. This week is the perfect week for me to be reading non-stop because I have nothing else to do. We are staying at a friend's farmhouse in the middle of winter and it is freezing and I'm not working at the moment. It is so cold outside today, so all I want to do is curl up under a blanket and read, so I'm very excited to start this challenge. This will also just be a bit of a vlog of my week. I'm going to book club on Sunday and we're going to talk about our book of the month, which was Greta and Veldin, which I loved. It was so good. I brought a very small selection of books with me to this little stay that we're at the moment, and I thought it would be really fun to do a bit of a random generator, spin the wheel to see which book to read next, because I don't really know what I feel like reading and I thought it would make it a bit fun. So I've got my selection of books here, I'll show you. So these are all books that I've been wanting to read for quite a while now, and yeah, I'd honestly be happy if it landed on any of these books because I'm excited to read all of them. So I've got my little spin the wheel here, and I'm going to spin the wheel to decide the first book that I read in this challenge. I'm so excited to see what it's going to be. Ooh! So the book is For the Forest of a Bird. This is a book that I borrowed from the library maybe a year or two ago, and then I found a copy of it in the op shop. I only read a few pages of it from the library and then I had to return it, but I was really enjoying it. I think it's a YA and it is set in Melbourne and it is nature kind of writing. So I'm really excited to read this one. I'm going to start my challenge right now. I am going to set my timer and I'm going to go read now. Currently 2 hours into this very long challenge. I've gotten changed into my comfy pajamas and warm clothes because it is just freezing out there today. It is so cold and I'm hugging my heat pack and the heat is on. I hope it's not too noisy. I finished For the Forest of a Bird in an hour and a half, so very good book to start this challenge. This book was a really easy, quick read, really beautiful writing. It was set in Melbourne in around the Fitzroy, like Merri Creek area, and then also branched off to Phillip Island, which has such a strong connection and special place for me. It's where my grandparents used to live and I used to love the nature and everything around there, so I really found this book special. This book talks about this young girl who's trying to grapple the idea of her parents being divorced and also her dad being sick and kind of starting a new life somewhere else and feeling like she's left out of it, and just her understanding of it as like a young kid. She feels like she's being left behind and she doesn't like the idea of things changing. And it also is her connection to nature, especially birds, and how she shares that with her father and how she wants to keep sharing that with her father and not let anything change. So yeah, it was really gorgeous. I ended up rating it 3.5 stars, so it wasn't like one of the most amazing books I've read. I would prefer if it was a bit more detailed and longer. It definitely seems like it's targeted towards young adult readers, but it was definitely a very special book, and I loved the location and the whole vibe of this book. It was really sweet. So a great book to start off. It was 194 pages, so a very quick one. And I just spun the wheel after I finished reading. I forgot to, oh my god, what are you doing? Sorry, my cat just fell off the chair. I forgot to record myself spinning the wheel, but I spun the wheel for my next read and it landed on Tom Lake by Ann Patchett, which I am so excited to read this one. And very amazing, funny coincidence, my loan for the audiobook on my library app has just come in, maybe like a few days ago, so it's perfect time for me to read this one and also listen to the audiobook because it's a bit of a bigger book. So I'm going to do some audio listening and some reading to get myself through this one quicker, but I might possibly be able to finish this one today as well, and then that might be 2 books in one day. So it's a great start to the challenge and I'm really enjoying the books that I am reading so far.
Bloomsbury presents Tom Lake, read by Meryl Streep. Chapter 1.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. I had a really good reading day yesterday, and I feel like in this challenge I need to update you guys like at least once a day because my reading speed is obviously much more faster than usual because I'm trying to see how many books I can read in 1 week, so I'm reading non-stop. So I finished Tom Lake last night by Ann Patchett and I listened to the audiobook by Meryl Streep. The audiobook made this such a fun read to get through. The narration was just amazing and I loved this story so much. I loved the setting, the interesting characters. I loved how it was looking back at her life and her children wanting to know more. It was such a wholesome, comforting story. It was also very interesting. I just, really, really loved the writing, and I've got a few more Ann Patchett books in my collection of books and I'm very excited to pick them up now because I really, really like her writing. But I ended up rating this one 5 stars and I haven't had a 5-star read in a while, so I was so excited about that. So I had the best time reading it yesterday. It was just like listening to your own mother or relative tell you a story of their life, but with a little bit of a twist of like celebrities and acting and all the drama and everything that goes on in that. But it was great. I loved it, and it got quite sentimental and wholesome at the end and really wrapped up nicely. So after I finished Tom Lake, I straight away went to my phone and did the wheel and got another read, and I forgot to film it. Sorry. But the reading wheel landed on Hot Milk by Deborah Levy. I've been wanting to read this book for so long now. Deborah Levy is one of my favorite authors. I started reading it last night and I'm currently 25 pages of the way through. It's about a mother and daughter who travel to Spain to see a specialist doctor for the mother. She has like paralyzed legs and other problems and she cannot figure out why. So I didn't even know that was the premise before reading it, and I always wanted to read it, so I'm very intrigued to how this is going to play out. So far the doctor is an absolute pain in the ass and he's like mimicking her and like mocking her and just like not being helpful, so I'm very confused by this narrative. So I am interested to see how it plays out, but so far I'm a bit infuriated reading the doctor part and I don't know if I should be. So yeah, I'm going to keep reading this today. It's a pretty small read, so I think I'll finish it today if I'm still in my same reading groove, and then I'll pick up another one. Good morning, it is Monday morning now. I am here with Gertrude and some books that I want to talk about. I slept until midday today. I went into the city yesterday, as you would have seen in the video. I went to see my book club friends, go to book club and do some book shopping, but I haven't really had a proper day out in quite a while, so I crashed pretty bad last night and still crashing a bit today, but I've had a very big rest, so I'm feeling a little bit better. So I haven't done as much reading in the past 24 hours as I did at the start of the challenge, but I'm still getting through it pretty well. So I went to Dimmicks to get my mum a birthday present. She wanted an interior design book because she's super into interior design and interior decoration. So I got a big beautiful book for her, and then whilst I was there I couldn't help myself and I had to buy a book for myself because there's always a book there that I want to buy. So I ended up getting By the River, which is an essay collection of stories about connection to water and swimming and nature. I've read At the Pond, which is an essay collection about Hampstead Ladies Pond, and I absolutely loved it. I love the different authors that are writing about it. I just love the collection and the sense of community and their connection to water. So I'm really excited to read this one. There's also two others in this collection of books, which is In the Kitchen and In the Garden. So I want to eventually read all of them because it's such a beautiful collection of work. So I'm really excited to have my hands on this one now. And so I bought that for myself, and then I went to book club. I had such a lovely time seeing all the girls again. I hadn't seen them in so long, and we were chatting about how, because we always spin the wheel to choose our next book club pick and we all put books in that we want to read. It always lands on an Irish literary fiction, which we all love, but we're kind of like getting a little bit sick of, or some of us are getting a bit sick of, which is so fair because it's just like, we had that like 3 or 4 times in a row, just like the same kind of book. So we spun the wheel and it ended up landing on another Irish literary fiction, and I felt so bad. So I was like, oh, let's just rig it, let's just spin it again. And the girls were like, oh, why don't we just have 2 books a book club, like for August? And I was like, yeah, sure, there's no rules, like let's just have 2, like one Irish literary fiction and one completely different one. So then we looked at our wheel and we chose a horror, and that horror, it's like horror kind of like weird quirky writing. I'm not really quite sure what the genre is, but it is Brat, a ghost story by Gabriel Smith. I bought this yesterday because we went back to the bookstore after book club, and I've started reading it on the train home, and I'm already 35 pages of the way through, and I reckon it will be a book that I'll just read all in one sitting today, because it's just one of those books where you start it and you just want to keep going, and it's got a lot of like short chapters and like short pieces, like really easy to read through. So this is our horror pick for August because why not change it up? And then our Irish literary fiction pick is a book that I already own and I actually brought with me here, which is so convenient. That one is Talking at Night by Claire Daverley, which I am so excited to read. I've heard it's very like Sally Rooney, and I've heard a lot of amazing reviews about this one. So yeah, these are our 2 picks for our August book club, which is so exciting. I told the girls they can read one or both of them or none of them, and we can just have a little discussion. So yeah, that will be fun. In regards to the books that I'm reading for the challenge at the moment, so I finished Hot Milk like 2 days ago by Deborah Levy, and I absolutely loved it. I love how quirky her writing is. I just love her characters. Her writing style is amazing. I didn't love it as much as some of her other books, but I ended up giving it, I think, 4.25 stars, and the ending was hilarious, and it started making a lot more sense, because at the start I was saying I was a bit concerned and confused about the doctor, but it kind of makes sense, but also leaves it on a bit of a cliffhanger. But that's all I'm gonna say about Hot Milk. But I really did like it. It was just a classic Deborah Levy, amazing writing, fun book. And then now I am onto The Salt Path, which is a non-fiction. I didn't realize this was a non-fiction when I started it. I've had this book for so long and I thought it was a fiction, but yeah, this is non-fiction. This is about Raynor Winn herself and her partner in their 50s or 60s, and they unfortunately become homeless because of some problems with money and their house, and they decide to do this big path around the island, which is the southwest coast path, and there's a map for it in here, and it's 1,000 kilometers. So it's, they said the amount of miles, but I translated it to kilometers because I wasn't sure. This is 1,000 kilometers of walking, and her partner is currently sick. He's been diagnosed with a really bad illness, and they just thought, why not just make the most out of the situation and go on a big walk whilst they're technically homeless. It's just them talking about their struggles and, you know, trying to find a place to camp and get shelter and get food with like limited money, and how other people are treating them. It's really interesting. It's really sad, but it's really beautiful nature writing. It's very beautiful writing about her journey, and just, yeah, they seem like really lovely people, and I'm really enjoying this one so much. I'm also listening to the audiobook at times, which is narrated by herself, which is really good. And yeah, so I think I might finish this one today, and I also think if I'm in a good reading mood, I might finish Brat today as well, which I am really loving. And then I've also been reading a book on my Kindle, which I have not told you guys about, but whenever I go to bed, I normally read on my Kindle for about an hour because I can lay down and then I just fall asleep. So I've been reading a book during this challenge as well that I started, called Small Rain by Garth Greenwell. This is a digital arc from NetGalley, and it is about a guy who gets sick during COVID times, but it's not COVID, and he goes to the emergency hospital to see what's wrong with him. He's like getting sharp stabbing pains, and he then quickly gets admitted into like the ICU, and it's a really serious case and they haven't seen it before and they're really concerned, and it's just his whole experience being in the hospital during COVID times. It's fiction, so it's not real, but I'm not sure if it's based off his own experience or anything, but I'm really enjoying it so far. It's very interesting to see like a day-to-day what's happening in the hospital. I feel like the author must have some sort of like experience either being in a hospital or being a doctor, because it's very detailed with like all the hospital talk and all the procedures and stuff. But yeah, I'm really liking this one. It's really interesting and different to any other like books about illness that I've read, so I'll keep you updated on my reading with this one. But yeah, that is my update. So these are my books that I am currently reading. Hi everyone, it is Thursday today. I haven't updated you guys in a day or two. I had a really big busy day yesterday and I was very fatigued and exhausted, so I didn't actually end up reading any books yesterday. But the day before, I started and finished reading Brat by Gabriel Smith. This book was a really fun book to read. I wasn't planning on reading it all in one sitting, but I just got so obsessed with the writing style, and it was creepy and it was hilarious, and it was a very enjoyable read, although I was quite disappointed by how it all wrapped up. It felt more like it would be suited to be in a short story collection and reduce the amount of pages. It started to carry on a bit too long at the end and nothing really resolved in the way I wanted it to, or at all. But I just feel like it's one of those books that I'm just going to forget about in like a week or so and never think about again, which is a shame because I really love the whole premise and idea of it and all the things that were happening had such potential to be cool and creepy, but it just kind of fell off the mark a bit. Definitely enjoyed reading it, and I recommend it if you are after a fun horror kind of weird wacky book. But now I am reading Summer by Ali Smith, which is the last book in her seasonal quartet. I am almost halfway and I'm loving it because I love Ali Smith, and of course I love it. Like, I loved all of her books in her seasonal quartet, and so far this book's set in winter and they're talking about wanting it to be summer, which is so relatable because it is winter here in Australia and I've just been freezing. I've been living in my dressing gown, just feeling like an absolute slob and just waiting for summer. But the sun's out today, so it's nice weather to read summer. This is my 6th book of the challenge, and then I'm also halfway through the book on my Kindle, Small Rain. So if I can finish this and Small Rain by tomorrow at lunchtime, then that's 7 books that I've read in 1 week, which is 1 book a day, which I think is a pretty good go. So yeah, this challenge is finishing at lunchtime tomorrow, which is very convenient because it's my mum's birthday tomorrow and we're going out for lunch. So when we go out, the challenge is over. I'll show you the books that I've read so far. These are the books that I have read so far, which is probably the most books that I've ever read in 1 week at a time. And such a fun collection. I have loved doing this challenge so much. I've discovered new favorite authors, favorite books. I've delved into different genres. So yeah, it's been really fun, and I'm excited just to spend the rest of my day sitting in the sun and reading some Ali Smith. It's very poetical, lyrical, just gorgeous, quirky writing, and I love Ali Smith. Hello everyone, it is Friday today. It's currently about 1 or 2 p.m, so the challenge is officially over. We have made it to 168 hours, which is exactly a week. I managed to finish Ali Smith Summer this morning. I didn't love this one as much as her other seasonal quartet ones. I found it dragged on quite a bit and wasn't as interesting and was a bit more political and a bit boring, but I still really loved her lyrical, beautiful writing, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. So yeah, I didn't love it as much as I did Spring and Winter and Autumn. I felt like it was just a little bit long, but I'm still really excited to read more of Ali Smith's work, and as a whole quartet together, I think it definitely finished off nicely and tied them all together. So yeah, that was my thoughts on Summer. I didn't get round to finishing Small Rain on my Kindle. I still have about half of that to go. So I ended up reading 6 books in this week, which I am really, really happy with. That's almost a book a day, and I felt like I was reading almost constantly. I think there was like 1 day where I didn't really read at all, but most of the days this week I have been reading quite a lot. My favourite books from this challenge would have to be The Salt Path and Tom Lake. I gave both of these 5 stars. And then my third favourite would probably be Hot Milk by Deborah Levy. I loved her writing in this and it was very funny and entertaining. This one was a really fun, quick read, touching on like nature and stuff, and then this was a fun, almost like short story vibe about horror and just kind of quirky, weird writing. I feel like I had a really good mixture of genres and different types of books, and yeah. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in another reading vlog soon.